this, I know you watched it in the porn. I know you saw it on the video like that. It ain't it. It is not it. One, it could be painful because you're just like pounded too fast, too hard into her cervix, and it's just not it, okay? You guys, stop. It is not hot. It does not feel good. I don't know who told you that's the way to go, but there is definitely some technique of maybe like a little slower, maybe a little hip roll, like maybe a little teasing, maybe a little shallowing with your penis. I mean, I don't know. Google it if you don't know what that is, or follow one of my videos. I talk about it a lot. Like the Energizer Bunny, like sex machine pound that you see on the porn video. No, that is a major ick. All right, guys, welcome back to the Law of Cassidy. Super excited to be back. I was just saying, I'm like looking forward to this. Like I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. Today's a good episode. We are calling, of course it's a quickie, which means you only have me. So sorry, you're just going to be with me. Lucky you. But I thought it would be fun if we talk about ICKS. Like it's giving the ick. Like what is your ICKS when it comes to anything? So just me, the mic, a few things that have been living rent-free in this little head of mine. And we're going to get into stuff that doesn't always make that perfection highlight reel, which is a reality here in good old Utopia land of Utah. Everybody's worried about their highlight reel. So we're going to talk about motherhood ICKS. We're going to talk about sex ICKS, unpopular opinions, and hard to say truths and honesty that need to be said. And we're reading the DMs still. We're dropping a little Covet This with a product recommendation that's spicy and closing it out with a truth bomb per usual in what I like to call the Law of Cassidy. So if you've ever been judged for having a nanny, taking your kids to daycare, and not showing up the right way in your friendship circle, I think this episode's going to be for you. Make sure to share it, and I appreciate your support. Let's get into some DMs. I wanted to start with DMs first before I get into the juicy ICKS. So first one we're going to start with today. I'm a 21-year-old female, and I don't know how to come during sex. My boyfriend and I have tried, but it just doesn't work. So first thing, if this is you, I need you to take a deep breath, okay? You are not broken and you are not behind. This is actually normal, okay? Most women cannot have climax just through actual penis and vagina penetration. You know what's so funny on the podcast, side note? I'm so used to saying code words on social media that I'm like, maybe I should do that here. I guess we won't use that clip, but I'm like, do I say the real word? Do I say the code word? I guess we'll decide. Okay. So that being said, most women don't orgasm from just penis to vagina penetration. It's not a dysfunction, it's biology, okay? It's the way our pleasure centers are built. There's certain nerves in certain areas. So my advice, which could be shameful in the state that I live, which is probably why I thrive in this space, because this is what I do, is I need you to let go of the shame and I need you to start figuring out your body. Do you know how many of you don't even know your body? And you're over here trying to get your man to help you finish or get to a spot, and you don't even know what you like. So step one is I need you to start figuring out your body. I need you to use your hands. I need you to use maybe toys and adding some lubrication, because that also is very helpful too. Sorry, I just bumped that. Okay, so I just want you to really start learning about your body, figuring out your body, different sensations, different speeds, different vibrations, maybe just using a hand. I remember like reading in Cosmo, because that was cool when I was like younger, was, you know, the figure 8 with your finger, like figure it out. Figure out what you like. And it's okay to use your hands and devices during the P and the V, okay? So that is my advice. Keep the communication open. Get curious. It's important to stay curious. And most importantly, you got to let it be fun. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself, okay? Everybody just go masturbate. Thank me later. Okay. The next one in the DM says, hi, I've been following you for a little while and absolutely love your content and the helpful info. I have been trying to find a butt plug that will stay in during intercourse. He is larger and just pushes it back out. I am an anal sex girl, so I feel like I am too relaxed back there, and that's why I can't keep one in. Well, that's not true, but okay, noted. And on one occasion, he pushed it all the way inside of me. And of course, I had a panic attack, but easily got it back out. That was a fun night. We laughed so hard. We also have tried a small dildo that attaches to him, but it kept coming out too. Looking forward to your advice on this. Okay. First of all, thank you for being here and thank you for keeping it real. I love that you admitted like, hey, I'm an anal sex girl. I love it. You have no idea how many people actually deal with this exact issue, but are too embarrassed to say anything. So this is just everyone's reminder. If you have questions, please ask them because I love to answer them. This story kind of had me cracking up. Like panic attack with a happy ending is now like a canon. Like, was it like a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, it just fell out? I don't know. So let's talk solutions. If he's on the larger side and you're already super relaxed, it makes total sense that most plugs or accessories just don't stay put. They're either too small or they don't have enough grip. You need something that's tapered for comfort, flared enough to stay in place, a little longer so it doesn't pop out with movement, and strong enough for deeper pressure, which is why I recommend the Veto Bump Plus. It's got a sleek, comfortable, tapered shape. It secures flared base and it keeps from disappearing mid-thrust. And it's almost like thinner rather than wider, so it'll stay put. It also has remote control for some hands-free play and fun, which always makes things fun. And because it's longer and slightly firmer than a lot of beginner plugs, it gives you that full filling that stays put even during penetrative sex. If you need to find this, I will link it in this, podcast episode. You can find that clickable link. And as always, it's CassidyBybee.shop, but that's the Veto Bump Plus on my website. Okay, so let's talk ICKS. Okay, it's that time. We're going to discuss things that make your skin crawl, your eyes roll, and your soul scream internally. We're talking about little behaviors that are more than just like cringe. They're actual ICKS. They're walking red flags wrapped in a cute outfit. Okay, like let's get into it. Motherhood ICKS, relationship ICKS, social media ICKS. No one's safe. And yes, if you feel personally attacked, that's between you and your group chat, because apparently there's a lot of that happening. And I know you're listening. I shouldn't laugh about that, but man, if you just show up and start being authentic and people that were just terrible in your life, everybody's just like worried, like, what is she going to say? That's the beauty of this podcast. Who I am behind the mic is who I am on the internet, and it's who I am if you ran into me at, I don't know, a restaurant down the street. That's the best part of all this. So let's get into it. The first ick, we're going to be a little vulnerable. I should have had some tissues next to me, is probably my biggest insecurity, and that is motherhood. We're going to talk about motherhood ICKS because I live in a state where it's a pretty prominent thing and there is kind of like an image with it. So let's talk about the version of motherhood that no one preps you for. I don't care how great your mom was. If you didn't have a mom, no one prepares you for the one that you don't feel like you're doing it right, even though you're doing everything. Okay. I want to talk about something that feels weirdly taboo, especially living in Utah. I only have one child. Crazy, I know. And for some reason, people feel very comfortable having opinions about that. They'll ask, so when's your next one? Or they'll say things like, oh, she needs a sibling. You don't want her to be an only child. You can't do that to her. And here's the thing, and I stand strong in this. Someone's reproductive choices are none of your freaking business, because you never know what's happening behind closed doors. I know people that have 6 kids and they get told, oh my gosh, you have 6 kids. Or there's people like me that have 1 kid and they're like, are you going to have a sibling? You don't know if someone's dealing with infertility. You don't know if they've had miscarriages. You don't know if the pregnancy almost broke them physically or mentally. And you don't know if they're still trying to recover from the first time. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story and why I am thriving with my only child. So when we decided to get pregnant, we tried for 2 years. And there's like this weird law, and this was before Haley was in my life. I think the dynamic probably would have went smoother with Haley in my life. But so I go for the infertility step 1, which they were going to put me on Clomid. I get the med. Apparently you have to wait to start taking it until you start your period. So I was starting my period that following Saturday. So that following Saturday comes around and I didn't start my period. And I remember Josh saying like, how are the meds? Cause you hear everything like, oh, it makes you crazy. It makes you feel like shit. So I was like, oh, I haven't started yet. He's like, oh, okay. And then Monday rolls around. And he's like, how are the meds? I was like, I haven't started yet. He's like, you're not. I was like, there's no way. We were literally just at the like OB, like drawing blood. There's no way I'm pregnant. They would tell me. They wouldn't prescribe this med. So then Tuesday rolls around. I still hadn't started my period. So I decided to go to the dollar store and buy a test because fact 101, all the tests are the same. Even if you buy a cheap one or expensive one, okay? So I go to the dollar store and I buy 2 just in case, just in case. First one, I pee on it and it is Bray. It is like, you are freaking pregnant. And I was like, this is a dollar store test. It's not legit. So I peed on the other one, same thing. So then I went and bought a more expensive one. I wasted so much money that day and peed on it. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to tell Josh. This is crazy. And I was in fact pregnant. And the timeline was wild. One, I found out when I was 4 weeks, which I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse because I feel like it was the longest pregnancy of my life. But I like got pregnant like the day after my period ended, which if you know ovulation, that's like not a thing. Either Josh has like super swimmers or like something is just wild with my body. So then I was pregnant. We were so excited, feeling very blessed. Everything was healthy. Genetic testing came back normal. Everything was fine. I just had this weird thing, and I still deal with it, in my back where it's like I had like an SI shooting pain in my left butt cheek. Like I would go and do parties and I would come home from the party and I would literally just like be on all fours and like tell Josh to just like grind his elbow into me. Like it was hard. It was a hard pregnancy. At 30 weeks, I got sick with pneumonia and I was hospitalized. That was terrible because you can't take anything when you're pregnant. It was rough. And then she wouldn't come out. That girl was a cozy cutie. And I was, I think, 6 days late and finally induced. Normally when you get put on Pitocin, things get moving. You guys, I was on Pitocin for 4 hours and I wasn't even a 1. Like Jovi was like, it ain't happening. Okay. So then they had to do the forced dilation. I saw a TikTok video about this once that it was like that cervical dilator balloon should be like, it's like worse than hell. Like it is the most, and I hadn't had my epidural yet. Cause I mean, I wasn't even a 1. So it's like a balloon. They fill it with like liquid and then it like forces dilation. And I was laying down when they did it. And the doctor said to me like, hey, if anybody can get past the 20 mLs, I think, I don't know, I'm probably slaughtering this. And if you were my nurse, like you're probably laughing, but, I always give him a fist pump because that's intense. And I was like, well, I feel fine. Go ahead. So she did. She fist pumped me and she sat me up and it was like, whoo. And I was like, oh, this is not good. First TMI, I instantly had to poop. I know that's like, we're talking about poop, but it was like everything just like forced. And then I was like shaking, like trying to be, I don't know how women do unmedicated birth. Go you. There is no reason why I want to do that. Like, because I lived that little millisecond of an hour before my epidural when that cervical balloon was in. And I literally was like, this is how I'm going to die. This is how it's going to happen. Long story short, 28 hours later, literally, I started pushing and I pushed for 2.5 hours. My favorite part of this story is after the baby was here and Josh would be telling people, oh, she did so good. She only pushed for 2.5 hours. People look at him like, wait, what? And it's because that's not normal. I'm like, babe, that's not normal. Like they had a sheet tied. Like I was pulling on the sheet, pushing down. Like it was nuts. My water was broke for so long. Both Jovi and I spiked a fever before I started pushing. It's a long ass word. I don't remember the name of it. All the nurses out there probably know. And so we had to stay at the hospital for a week. Jovi had an IV in her head. I had to get treated. It was rough. And then there is after the baby, we get home and I'm really struggling with like the breastfeeding dynamic, and we'll get into that next because that's also another motherhood ick of mine. But that moment, I think that delivery, it's like the coolest moment of your life. But the other thing I forgot, my placenta wouldn't come out. So Josh went with the baby and my mom was there. Originally it was just going to be me and Josh, but it went so long and then things kind of went south. So my mom stayed, which I'm glad she did because she was with me. Like, I don't even have like a normal picture of me and Josh and Jovi because what happened is my placenta wasn't coming out. Like my doctor was like elbows deep inside of me. And I'm thinking to myself, thank goodness I had an epidural. Imagine doing this naturally. And it was coming out in chunks. You guys, this is how people die. Like they like bleed out. Like my mom is a nurse and she's like, I was just watching her. She had elbows deep and I was puking and like in and out of it because I'm losing so much blood. And my mom said, I was thinking like 2 more minutes of that and she was probably gonna knock you out and go to the OR. But I remember there was like student nurses there too. And I just remember my doctor saying like to the student nurses, we're doing a D&C. It's like carving a pumpkin. And then I remember hearing, if this is too much for you guys, I'm sorry. This is just my reality. So when people are like, why aren't you having another one? It was one of those moments where your body stops feeling like something you trust, you guys, and starts feeling like something you survived. So like I said, that is a motherhood ick, okay? And let's talk about postpartum because I'm not even there yet, okay? I was not a postpartum person that was like, oh my gosh, what if something happens to my baby? Something's gonna happen to my baby. Or like, I wanna lay in bed all day. I was a postpartum person that I was humbled very quickly. I was always the girl in normal daily life that was like, anxiety is not real. People make it up. Well, let me tell you how my postpartum hit. It wasn't, like I said before, it was driving down the road with my baby in the back, normal, happy-go-lucky day, and all of a sudden, bam, hit with like full-on chest pain, full-on panic attack, literally wondering like, what is happening? I thought I was having a heart attack, got to my mom's house, plopped Jovi on the ground. I literally just like fell over and I was like, I'm having a heart attack. And my mom was like, I think you're having a panic attack. This is how my postpartum showed up. There was another time I was with my mother-in-law, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, Jovi, me. I'm driving us all down to the family cabin and it hit me again on I-15. I was driving. I had to pull off. I opened the door. I projectile vomited everywhere. You guys, postpartum anxiety was my Achilles heel. Like I was feeling like my body was on fire from the inside out. It wasn't mental. It was all physical. Like, this is the question that I asked when it was, are we going to have another one? Of should my child have a sibling? The question is, can I be the kind of mom I want to be mentally, emotionally, physically if I do this again? And I'm very blessed that Josh was understanding. I don't want to bring another human into this world just so my other one's not an only child. Like, that's not a reason, you guys. That's a projection. And we're talking about a life. And I think that's pretty emotionally mature of me to realize, okay, this postpartum was not the healthiest. Okay. And we're talking about me being able to show up for it. Choosing not to have another child or choosing to wait doesn't mean I love motherhood less. It means I respect my limits. It means I'm listening to my body. It means I'm prioritizing my mental health so I could be present for the child I did have, okay? And if that makes somebody uncomfortable, that's not mine to carry. So if you're listening and you only have one child or none, or you're unsure, or you're just grieving what didn't happen, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your body is not up for discussion. Your motherhood is not measured in multiples. And your peace is not something you owe anyone an explanation for. And your worth as a mother is not measured by how many children you have or don't have. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop when your body tells you to stop. And that is what I did. So stop bringing up people's reproductive choices. Stop assuming, stop judging, and just letting people be because you don't know. Okay. Which leads me into the next one. Motherhood ick. Breastfeeding. Okay. Let's go there. The breastfeeding versus formula, because there's one thing I didn't expect to feel so much ick about as a new mom, and it was this conversation. So in the hospital, you're with the lactation specialist. We're there for a week. So we're like in the nursery, out of the nursery, trying to breastfeed, like trying to latch. Like I have TMI. I don't care. I probably shouldn't share this with the world, but whatever. I mean, we're talking about health and bodies and whatever. Like I have really small, like areola nipples, like very small. And so Jovi had a hard time latching, but the pressure I received from the lactation specialist is literally terrible. So if you're a lactation specialist and you're listening to me, your job is to guide. Your job is to not make a mom feel like this is the only option, because it ain't. So what ended up happening is I then realized it was not happening. And so I would pump and bottle feed. And it's so funny. After you have a baby, they like teach you like, oh, you only need this much. I remember the first night we were home and at 5:00, like Jovi just lost it and she was just crying, wouldn't stop crying. And the funny story is that Josh literally like called his mom and was like, we read all the books. They lied. Like, we don't know what's wrong with her. So his mom showed up and I remember it was like one of the best Cassie Bybee moments. And she doesn't care that I say her name. She showed up at this little rental we were at because we were building our house. She had a loaf of bread, peanut butter and jelly, a gallon of milk, and 2 boxes of cold cereal. And I literally just like felt like I won the lottery because we didn't plan food. We weren't ready. And she showed up and she was like, you need to feed that damn baby. This baby's hungry. And then I watched her give this baby more than like what the hospital told me. And that's when I quickly realized like a fed baby is the most important. And the hospital telling only this many ounces. No, you need to listen to your baby's cues. And yeah, the books, they're not all right. Okay. So fast forward, we're continuing to pump and bottle feed. There were so many times I would like pass out, like pumping and be like, oh my gosh, I got to feed my baby. Like it's rough. Postpartum is really hard. And it was getting to the point too that like, I was a pumper. Like I could produce a lot, like 8 ounces each side. Like we were getting a freezer full, but like things were getting back to normal. I was finally starting to do parties again because she was born in December and I didn't really want to miss that peak season of Valentine's. So I remember it was stressful. It was a lot. I struggled with it. It was nice that there was a dynamic that I could sleep and Josh could wake up, which is advice for new moms. Like I'm going to give you advice. A friend of mine gave advice. Shout out to Corinne. I'm not going to say her last name because, here we are. But she said it's really important that you have a schedule so that both of you can get an equal amount of sleep. So like I was a night owl or I was out partying. So Josh would put Joey down at like, I don't know, 8 or 9 feet or whatever. So then I would get home and then I would stay up till midnight. So he was in bed at 9 and I would do the midnight feeding. And then he would do like the 4 a.m. feeding. So then I would sleep from midnight to like the 8. So then we were both getting an equal amount of sleep. That's a tip that somebody gave me and it like changed my life. So shout out to my girl. But I remember Josh came home. I was trying to get ready for work. Jovi was screaming. She was starving. I was needing to pump. So I'm hooked up to the pumping machine. Jovi is screaming bloody murder. And I literally have a bottle in her mouth trying to feed her and tears are just rolling down my cheeks because the overwhelm, the anxiety, the stress, the pump, the baby, all of it. And Josh looked at me and this is why I love my husband. And he goes, we're done. And in that moment I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, we're not doing this anymore. And I was like, are you leaving me? What's happening? He's like, no, we're going to go buy formula. You're going to dry it up. Man, and drying that up, man, these knockers got like massive. I did the whole cabbage thing. I smelled like stinky cabbage. But anyways, best moment ever. And I'm here to tell you the subtle comments, the backhanded stuff. Like I even went on a mom group and asked, hey, we've decided to move towards formula. Terrible mistake. And mom groups do better. Okay. And I'm like, what are the best tips for drying up quickly? And I didn't get tips for drying up quickly. I got, have you called your hospital lactation specialist? Have you tried this? Ick. Oh, you're not breastfeeding comments. Said with a smile and not really a smile. Or here's what I have to say about that. Feed your baby. That's it. Some women breastfeed with ease. Some struggle. Some can't. Some simply choose not to. And all of those choices deserve respect because you have no idea what's behind them. It could be medical. It could be mental. It could be boundaries. It could be the formula made more sense. And that's enough. We talk about fed is best and we don't freaking act like it. So if you're one of those people, start acting like it. Okay? Cool. So you're not a worse mom because you didn't. You are a mother that made the choice for your baby and your body. And that's sacred. So next time someone tries to sneak a comment about what's in your bottle, tell them, love that for you. This works for us. That was the next motherhood ick. And the next one is probably the one I'm most insecure about. So I'm going to say this. If a man had a full-time job and a nanny, no one would question his fatherhood. But a mom, cue the judgment. You guys, the shit that I get. I am a breadwinner in my family. I run a business, a brand, now a podcast, and a household. And I knew from the beginning, if I was going to carry this kind of weight, I was going to need more help. So I made the decision personally to hire a full-time nanny. And the comments started rolling in. Must be nice. I could never let someone else raise my kids. Oh, so you're really not a stay-at-home mom. And here's the part that frustrates me. It doesn't matter what kind of help you have. Whether you drop your kids off at a daycare, rely on family help, tag team with your partner, or you hire full-time support, you're still a good mom. Having help does not mean you're disconnected. It means you understand your capability and the situation you're in. And that help allows me to show up both as the provider in my household and the parent, because I'm not just juggling tasks. I'm not just home all day folding laundry. I have to have help for that, you guys. I am carrying the emotional load of being the glue that holds everything together. There's a unique exhaustion that comes with being the one who makes the money and still being expected to make the snacks, remember the RSVPs, and show up to school events with a smile on your face. I am not just a working mom. And working moms, shout out to you too, because that is not an easy thing. I am the actual provider. And I'm still the one that is also, and my husband is too, we're comforting nightmares, we're packing lunches, and we're carrying the invisible weight no one else sees. So whether your child is with a nanny, a grandma, a neighbor, a daycare, or a village of your own, it's still you making it work. There's no one right way to mother. So before you say something to someone and how they choose to take care of their children that are their children, there's only one way that protects your peace, your purpose, and your ability to keep showing up. And anyone who says otherwise, they're projecting, not parenting. And I am not shaming stay-at-home moms. I could never, literally. I could never be a stay-at-home mom, and that was like all I'm not saying all I did, because that is a massive job. There is so much to be a stay-at-home mom. It is almost harder than having a job, I think, some days. So if you're a working mom, if you're the providing mom, if you're a stay-at-home mom, no one has a right to judge you for that. So motherhood is already heavy, you guys. We don't need the added weight of opinions we never asked for. Whether it's how we feed our babies, how many kids we have, or how we get help to survive it all, none of it defines our worth as mothers. And I'm saying this because I kind of treat this podcast, it's funny, like I re-listen to episodes and I'm like, man, that was good. Like I take my own advice. Like it's therapeutic to me. So I'm talking about this because I feel this to my core. So if you felt those quiet judgments or the loud side eyes, you're not broken. You're just living in a system that wasn't built to support your kind of strength. And now we've unpacked the mom ICKS. Let's get to the other ones. But I just want all the moms, dads, parents of the world, or if you choose not to parent, be authentically you and don't allow people's opinions to affect your life. And it's hard not to, because I will say everything I just went over have been some really hefty, heavy insecurities of mine. And when my motherhood is questioned, it is traumatic for me because I am so insecure about it. So let that be said, that's why I wanted to share this, okay? So motherhood is not the only space where people love to give unsolicited opinions. So let's move into everyday dating, social media, the energy that screams ick, okay? Because we're just doing the icks, okay? This one drives me freaking nuts. So the don't tip ick, okay? This is a thing. So, and why this hits so deep is I'm going to say something that might ruffle a few feathers, and I'm okay with that. If you don't tip your server, do not go out to eat. Not tipping isn't just rude. It's a full-blown, that's disgusting ick. A red flag, a hell no, okay? And I'm not saying that from a distance. I waited tables for 9 years. And shout out to all the people waiting tables. You guys, it is not an easy job. It's kind of gross too. You come home, I worked at Wingers. I smelled like chicken wings and French fries all the time. I also worked at the Oaks up Ogden Canyon. My arms, no matter, you would think you were you go home, you're like, how did I miss it? You have ice cream down your arm. Okay. You're running full plates of food, making sure everyone's fine. It's not an easy job. And they are paid by tips. Literally. They are making $2.13 an hour. That's how much I was making, okay? So 9 years of hustling double shifts, holding plates in both hands, and just stress. 9 years of smiling through rude customers because and I've worked in both fields, the most miserable humans come out in food and medical dynamics. It's just true. They do. Okay. So keeping it together when you want to cry. I cried all the time. Literally praying for decent tips just so you can make rent. Sometimes I don't know how I did that job. Like, I'm like, how did my feet just like not kill after a 12-hour shift? How did I run around all night? It's just, okay. Tips were the reason I survived. So do not go out to eat if you can't tip. And I get you may have a bad server, totally fair. But if they were kind, checked in, got your order right, gave you an experience, you tip them. And you don't get to treat people like help and then walk away like it's optional, okay? If you can't afford to sit down and be served, you literally can't go out because you have to be able to afford to tip. I will say though, I do have an issue with like all the tipping jars everywhere for like a dynamic where they literally are handing you a bag from the kitchen. Like, do you want a tip? Do you want a tip? Do you want a tip? And people like hide it now. They like, it's just in there and you don't realize it. Like, I'm not okay with that, right? Like, these are people that are making hourly wages, and don't hate me for this. It's ruffle the feathers, people losing their mind about their tip jars. But I mean, yeah, you can tip your barista, you can whatever, but like also tips are not expected if you're in a dynamic that you're like making like a good wage and you're just, yeah. I think that's a pretty heavily like opinionated situation, but like eating out tipping, and not like eating out tipping where they just like hand you something, but I'm like talking like back and forth, filling your drink. I think that is a requirement. And I also don't care if they automatically put gratuity, because I understand what it's like when you have a massive party of 20 people and you run your ass off and then they just like leave you like $5 and it should have been like 47. Not okay. Okay. There's no shame in staying home and door dashing and some mac and cheese until payday, but don't be the person that leaves $2 on a 60 tab and calls it gratitude. It's giving stingy, it's giving disrespect, and it's giving don't ever ask me out again. So just, if you're not a tipper, like, no. Okay. The part 2 for no reason ick. If you consume content, you guys have probably experienced this, where somebody has got a great hook and they're like giving you all the juicy details and then they like just don't get to it. Like they're like, and stay tuned for part 2. Like, you know, the ones you're watching the storyline, a hot take, a juicy behind the scenes, and just as it's getting good, they hit you with, I'm out of time, go to part 2. No, I'm sorry. I think this is an ick. You had the time. You had the freaking space. You just wanted the engagement. You wanted the virality. Listen, I get it. Social strategy, okay? Boost the algorithm, drive the clicks. But y'all are breaking up one like sentence into like 5 freaking parts. Like, just get to it already, okay? If I need to scroll a search and a like recentering define part 2, I'm out. Especially when part 2 is just, and then I said no thanks. Like, that's not a cliffhanger. That's a cry for views and it's desperate. And I'm curious, like, who else feels this way? But like, say what you need to say it well, say it once. And if you really must give a part 2, make sure it's worth it. I hate part 2 for no reason. That is definitely one of my icks, okay? All right, next we're going into is this a marriage or a PR campaign ick? And this is a hefty one, living in Utah. You guys can judge me for it. You can hate me for it. You can talk shit about me for it, but it's true and everybody's thinking it, okay? The last ick in this social media part is, I'm going to say it with love, kind of, okay? The overly lovey-dovey couples on social media. Now listen, I post my husband, you guys. I love him. I share real moments, real love, real growth, but I'm talking about the people who act like they're living in an Instagram fairy tale 24/7. You know the ones. Married my soulmate, best friend, twin flame, personal chef, life coach, and emotional support human. It's giving AI generated garbage. And the pictures, I cannot. The perfectly structured matching. I get matching outfits to church on Easter Sunday. Love it. It's a vibe. Okay. But every Sunday, too much. Okay. Everything's curated, everything's structured, everything's perfect. And maybe that's why people are having a hard time with this podcast. Maybe that's why people are feeling uncomfortable that I'm opening up and sharing so much. You guys, it's called real life. It's called being relatable. And it's called, I don't live in a glass house and I'm trying to disrupt this world I live in. And it's extremely this way in the state of Utah. Okay. But when it's that curated, it feels less like a relationship and more like a campaign. And that's just gross. Because the rest of us are just over here trying to schedule therapy, remembering who's picking up the kid, and figure out if we even like each other that week. And that is a fact. And I'm probably going to share me and Josh's most recent fight because it's freaking hilarious. I'm going to get there. I'm going to plug it in right now because why not? We got time, right? Okay, you guys, this is a serious question, and he's probably going to be so happy I shared this. Okay, we love the Niners. Go Niners. We're going to win the Super Bowl and put it in the universe. Okay, that being said, everybody's injured, and I can't believe we've got this far, so I'm super proud of this team. I know I'm totally teetering off, but it's my podcast, and I can do so. Okay, guys, I get football. I'm a Niners fan. I was a cheerleader. I had to understand football in high school, okay? My brother played football. You know, I love watching the Niners. I get football, okay? I know first down, second down, third down, fourth down. You know, I know punting. I know touchdown. I know the field goal. I know it all. So we were watching the game. We were watching the game between the Ravens and the Steelers. And can I just say, somebody's got to give that Ravens kicker like some love. That poor guy, okay? He missed the kick at the very end, and it was not a far kick. It was, I think it was like 20-yard line. I could be wrong. Do not like fact check me on sports, okay? Just be glad that I watch and I know a little something, okay? So he missed the kick, and it made it so that the Steelers won because the Steelers weren't going to win. Like the Ravens, like plowed. They were like there. They were within field goal. Like they're not going to go for the touchdown because the field goal's there. Like no one's going to miss this. Well, he missed, okay? And I was like, man, Josh, that sucks, right? Like I can't believe that happened. Like no one expected it. And Josh looked at me and he goes, yeah, I really feel bad for the Steelers kicker though too because he missed the PAT. Guys, I looked at my husband and I said, what is a PAT? And he literally looked at me and he goes, funny. And I was like, no. What is a PAT? And he's like, come on, Cass. I go, I don't know what a PAT is. I know what a field goal is. I know what a touchdown is. I have never heard the phrase PAT. He's like, babe, it's when they kick and it's 1 point. It's a point after touchdown. I have never heard it called point after touchdown. And I was appalled. And it turned in, and we can joke about it now, it turned into this like marital, like, he's like, you probably should not tell people that because you're portraying to be a Niners fan. And this just shows you who authentically I am because I'm talking about this. He's like, you can't portray to be a football person and not know what a PAT is. I'm sorry, and I hope people like post their feedback here. I didn't know what a PAT was. Point after touchdown. I mean, I thought it was just a field goal, but if it was after the touchdown, it was just 1 point. I always cheered and it was like field goal, you know, like. So it was pretty funny because Josh is like, this is embarrassing. You do not know what a PAT is. So that being said, that is like real life stories. That is not perfectly curated. And my husband probably was like, you probably shouldn't tell people that, but I think you guys would find that funny. So I now know what a PAT is. It is point after touchdown. Okay. Anyway, so love is beautiful, but real love is messy. Okay. It's human. It's not always Instagrammable, but that's what makes it real. And that's why I share these stories on here. So the couple's posting novels every anniversary, like they just met in a Hallmark movie. Congrats. But also, blink twice if everything's okay because it almost is like, what's really going on behind your closed doors? Okay, perfect. Next, we're going to get into some juicy sex icks because there are icks when it comes to sex. And who knows, maybe with these little clippets that we post to this, I would love to know some of your guys' icks because it's kind of fun. Okay. Oh, this one is not okay. The fingering without foreplay, like just raw dogging some like dry fingers in the vagine, like that's a hard pass, you guys. Like, no. And I know you've all done it. I know the men are listening. They're like, oh shit, I've done that before. You don't do it. And it's okay if you looby-dooby them up. That's actually going to give you a better result than just raw dogging it with some sandpaper because you're men. And some of you have nice soft hands, but let's be honest. Like, it's like the like Garth Brooks song, like, but she's got the hands of leather, you know, like same thing. Like dry fingers up the vagine without the foreplay. That's an ick. That's a hard no. Okay. So stop doing it. Okay. This one, I found this one on a Reddit feed and I was like, I got to share this one. So it was the day before I was texting and like a past situation. I don't know what an FWB is. And I don't want to try and sound like an idiot. And they said FWB. So I don't know what that is. So we'll just say hook up. And he was telling me how he really wanted to go down on me. And I was feeling a little hot by it. Like they were like sexting about it, which we love that. Here for that. That's hot. Okay. And they had plans to see each other the next day. The next day we meet. I give him a blowjob and that was it. He didn't go down on me at all. Just a blowjob for him. We went for a walk and then we parted ways. I was pretty damn put off, but girl, I would be too. I am not okay with that. Listen, the men of the world that think you can get all the blowies, all day and you don't have to go for a taco buffet, you're the problem in this world, okay? You're the problem. And it is a fact that some of you maybe are ignorant to it. And you're like, I don't know. I don't want to do it wrong. Like, there are books. I got plenty of videos, okay? Go educate yourself because you will be top tier marriage material. Or if you're already married, top tier, you're going to get whatever you need from this woman if you master the art of that. Cunnilingus is what is the specific word of it. But like, don't be expecting a little blowy or a little air flute playing and you're not going carpet munching, okay? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Ick. The last sex ick we're going to go over is the porn pound. The Energizer Bunny rhythm. Newsflash. I got to set these down. This, I know you watched it in the porn. I know you saw it on the video like that. It ain't it. It is not it. One, it could be painful because you're just like pounded too fast, too hard into her cervix and it's just not it. Okay. You guys, stop. It is not hot. It does not feel good. I don't know who told you that's the way to go, but there is definitely some technique of maybe like a little slower, maybe a little hip roll, like maybe a little teasing, maybe a little shallowing with your penis. I mean, I don't know. Google it if you don't know what that is or follow one of my videos. I talk about it a lot. Like the Energizer Bunny, like sex machine pound that you see on the porn video. No, that is a major ick. And if you're listening and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know any better. That's why I'm doing this podcast. And that's why I do my content because a lot of people are not educated properly and I could really be helping you like top tier elevate your sex life. And if you're somebody who's doing this, you're finishing and you don't really know if your wife or significant other has ever had an orgasm, she hasn't. And I will take that to the grave. She has not because it's not happening. Okay. So I just helped you. I just enlightened you with some guidance and go do some hip rolling, maybe tease with some shallowing, or maybe ask. And if she doesn't know, encourage her to go on an adventure with her hands like we talked about earlier. But the Energizer Bunny rhythm is a ick. Okay. All right. We're going to get into the Covet This. I'm going to give you a product suggestion. I say Covet This because we all know the brand that is coming. It's coming. We're getting closer and closer every day. And covet, what does that mean? It is a yearning, a desire for something. So I want you all to yearn for this device. So toys. This one is next level. We're going to talk about the Triple Rumbler. So this is a full body massager. It's one of those ones that has almost like a tree. It's got like 3 branches, okay? So literally this toy has 3 motors, 3, okay? And they don't just vibe. They flex, they bend, and they hold their shape so you can hit every angle. So whether it's the internal stimulation, external, or somewhere in between, the massager is built for precision and pleasure. There's 10 speeds. So you're going to find the one you're on. Maybe you're a weirdo and you like the bzz, bzz, bzz. You're not weird. I just could never do that. That's like almost there. Just kidding. I don't know. It doesn't feel good. I can't figure it out. I'm definitely like jackhammer girl, level 10, intense pressure. And if you are, shout out to my jackhammer girls. I see you. Okay. So whether you're easing for a slow burn or you're going 0 to 16 under a minute, there's going to be a actual speed for you. Okay. It's made of an ultra soft liquid silicone. It makes it feel smooth, luxe, and totally body safe. It's waterproof, rechargeable, and it even has a memory chip that remembers your favorite setting. I love technology, especially when it comes to vibrators, okay? So we love a toy with emotional intelligence, you guys, but here's something I really want to highlight. If you've ever been backdoor curious, but not quite ready to go there, this toy is perfect for easing into it. It has built-in backdoor beads. So when I say 3, it's like a 3-prong. I'm sure you've seen those before. They're very popular. I sell lots of them, and you all better go buy this. Or Ben, if you're listening, she wants this for Valentine's Day, and you'll love it too. So you don't even have to insert the beads. You can just lay them between the booty cheeks. She can kind of like start to feel that backdoor sensation. So I think it's just a good ease into backdoor and explore and experiment and see if it's something that you're ready for. So it's the Triple Rumbler. Grab yours now. I'll link it in the episode. It's on my website. It's a good one. Okay, so if I've learned anything, especially doing what I do, we're going to get into the Law of Cassidy to wrap this up. And we're going to be real and raw and honest, okay? Especially doing what I do, talking about the things I talk about, it's this. You do not owe anyone a watered down version of yourself just to make them comfortable. That, like, you don't know that, okay? There's pressure, there's judgment. There's the Utah Whisper Network that loves to decide what kind of woman is too much. And I felt it. And I felt it in ways that I have not expected, okay? But here's what I've had to own and what I'm still reminding myself every single day. Being fully, unapologetically yourself means not everyone will get it. And that's the point. If you're uncomfortable with what I say, how I show up, or what I believe in, you're probably not my people. And that's okay. Because I didn't build this for the people who want to stay comfortable. I built this for the ones who are ready to get honest with themselves, their lives, and what they actually want. So if that's you, you're in the right place. And that's the law this week. And I may sound like I'm on a TED Talk about this, but people being uncomfortable with you being you is a you problem, and it's not a you problem, it's them problem. And I think we deal with this a lot living in Utah, especially in this world of perfect, pretty image. And I'm here to tell you, you being you is so awesome. And I'm here to tell you, it's okay to be you. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be real. It's okay to be raw. And if you're the person that's uncomfortable with people who do that, that's okay. You don't have to do that. And I understand there's dynamics, like you have to respect people's privacy, whatever. And I've, really tried to make an effort here, and I'm learning. I just launched the podcast, like using code names, whatever. But like, I know the messages I'm delivering are helping someone, and that's why I'm loving this. And I'm loving the support. Please continue to share the Law of Cassidy. And I will see you next week on the Law of Cassidy. Have a great day.